until people start embracing a state of empathy and start acting in empathy, things aren't going to change. Intention is very good, but intention without action is meaningless. There are too many people that forget that, and there are too many people who are focusing on individual improvement rather than on improving the self that we're all part of. Remember that by ignoring problems, by ignoring criminal activity that's being carried out around you, by ignoring the plight of others, you are giving these problems your silent approval. You are approving of this polarized activity to be carried out in your world by the lack of attention that you're paying to this activity. Those who silently allow a problem to be perpetuated are truly as guilty as those who are actually creating the problem. And that's something that a lot of people have a very hard time dealing with. It's something that a lot of people have a very hard time facing about themselves. And it is the big problem that exists within the New Age movement. This creates a kind of unconsciousness among these people. They are too intent on focusing on their individual self and improving their own self, but they ignore the plight of those around them. And this is why the world is in the state that it's in, because of this type of attitude. That may be rather uncomfortable for some people to face, but that's just the way it is. There is too much of this misconception that you give a problem power by acknowledging the problem exists. You give polarized activity energy by acknowledging that activity. That's not true. You might give it energy by fighting against it. And this is why non-compliance is so important. When you see a problem, you don't fight against it. You stop complying with it, folks. It's what I was saying earlier about the man beating up the child. I'll protect the child. I won't comply with the violence. I won't passively allow that type of activity to occur. But I don't wish to fight the perpetrator. I don't hate the perpetrator. I don't judge the perpetrator. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to allow him to continue to perpetrate the act that he's doing. But if I don't speak out about it, then I'm agreeing with it. I'm allowing it to occur. I'm agreeing that that's okay in my world. It's okay for people to do that to other people. But I don't think it's okay, so I can't sit idly by and let it happen. But I think that the person who's doing it is only doing it because of their perception of what reality is. And that perception is based on the society that raised them. It's based on the life that they've had. It's based on their understanding of what reality is. And the understanding that most people have of reality is simply not their fault. People might say, well, look, the information's out there for anybody who wants to go and research it. And that's very true, but a lot of people simply don't have time to go and research these things because they are kept in this never-ending situation where they're on the treadmill. They've got to run, they've got to make money to pay the bills, they've got all of this stuff going on in this life in the fast lane type of reality that people tend to be in the modern world, which is completely contrived and completely unnecessary. If people would step back from these type of perceptions of reality and simply stop and look at things from the outside for a little while, I'm sure they would find that reality is not anything like what they perceived it to be when they were in there on the treadmill and running the little rat race that society keeps us involved in. It's people's stress over money and people's dependence upon money and the perpetual state of shortage that people are kept in that prevents people from ever being able to do this, from ever being able to step back and truly look at things and truly start to see the world in a different light. So you can't blame these people, folks. You can't blame the people you see doing these bad things. You've got to understand what it is that has brought them to that point. And let's face it, folks, the human consciousness has been so repressed. It's had so much creativity and so much personal freedom taken from it that a lot of people are simply ready to explode. People turn to alcohol, people turn to drugs, people turn to violence, they turn to whatever they can to try to find some solace and try to find some reason for their existence, because they are kept in this false reality, this false paradigm where they have this life that is absolute stress right from the word go. As soon as you start going to school, you start attracting stress into your life. Your life becomes stressful as soon as you enter the education system, and it stays stressful until you die. This is the world that has been created for us due to this monetary system. So it's very important that we deal with the monetary system. All that stress will then get removed from the human psyche, and we will be in a much better position to create the world we would like to see through this period of transition that we're going through at the moment. Well, that's about it for the show today, folks. I know I've probably babbled a lot again on this show. I tend to do that sometimes. I do intend to make this film on the Australian Constitution, so that will be something for Australian listeners to look forward to as well. I may have to have a bit of a break from the radio shows soon. I've got so much going on in my life that I'm seriously wondering whether I should keep doing the radio shows. So I'll just have to see what eventuates with all of that. I do enjoy talking to you every week, but it does detract a lot of my energy from filmmaking or from ever getting my second book finished, and a lot of the things that I would like to be doing. So I'll just have to do some meditation on that and do some quiet thinking and pondering and figure out whatever solution is going to work best. I'm not saying that I'm leaving or anything like that. I'm not saying that I'm not going to be doing any more shows. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just sort of thinking that maybe I might need to have a bit of time off soon, but I'll just play it by ear and I'll see where that leads me, folks. But in the meantime, it has been a pleasure talking to you again. It is always a pleasure to talk to you here on the show. Thank you very much for continuing to visit thecrowhouse.com. Thank you to those people who donated to help me get DVDs out at the Blues Festival this year. I did manage to get quite a large number of DVDs handed out to people at the gate, and so that was a bonus. I couldn't have done that without the donations that people sent me. Any donations that are ever sent to the Crow House, folks, always get used in order to keep the information flowing. I give out a great number of DVDs every day. I go uptown, that I have a bag of them with me, and I give them out to lots of people. And all of the money that I do get donated, I do very much recycle back into spreading the information and spreading the word to others. Thank you again for listening to the show. Thank you for the continued support that you've shown me. I'll look forward to speaking to you again next week. Bye for now, my friends. In Lakesh.